Hi, my name is Michael.G and have another video for you today. And I'm not sure which direction this video is going to go, but we're going to pick up on a principle and we'll see how this goes. The Son of God, you read that in the Bible many times. Nathaniel said it. In the fact that Nathaniel also said when he was under the fig tree or near the fig tree at the time, that Jesus is the Son of God, King of Israel. Okay, just remember that, King of Israel, Son of God. So the Son of God, Jesus, is the light of God. Now, I'm going to allow me to do this if this makes sense to you, but God allowed us to see homonyms in the English language that was made up of Latin letters, so the same Latin letters that were around in Jesus' time. We got the English Bible. The Old Testament is Aramaic and ancient Hebrew. New Testament is ancient Greek. And from what I'm understanding, the third language is English. And English has a very interesting homonym. I equals I. So I identity equals I, as in your eyeballs. Now, one way to look at this is that the matter inside the eye is actually the same as brain matter. So this homonym, I don't know how it came about. It's very interesting. And in the English language, we use the word I, as in your identity. Now, why didn't they use the Greek or Latin word for I, which is ego? Or in Greek, you say ego. But we're using the letter I. So there is a reason why this I is used and not ego in itself. So we're going to go into another homonym. And this is son and son. Both of these sound the same. But in normal English, they would have nothing together or to do with each other. But in the Bible, wherever you see Son of God, and you can consider this as also light from the sun, and light that we see on a daily basis in, except for, man-made light that we use to see comes from the sun. So when we read Jesus is the Son of God, we can also look at this as Jesus is the light of God. Now this is when this starts getting unpacked, you might get your hair standing up on this one. Now, Jesus is the light of God. On the cross, we had two different people on the cross next to Jesus. On the right hand, let's say this is the right hand, Jesus communicated with this person after this person admonished or rebuked this person. Jesus never spoke to this person. Now, why is that important? Because in the beginning, the first spoken words was, "Let light be," existing. Let light be. And God seeth the light, and the light is good. God seeth the light, and the light is good. We, those that are of God, are part of the family of God. And that family name is Elohim in the Bible. That is translated a lot of times as God. And we know from Genesis 1:1 to about, I think, Genesis 2:4, anywhere you see the word God, it's coming from the word Elohim. So that includes God the Father, Yahweh, God the Son, Yahweh Shua, and all the elect. Until God reveals His Son in us, we are in darkness. And when God does reveal His Son in us, we are speaking just like let light be good, and God, us, seeth the light, and the light is good. It's a big deal now. The Son of God is the light of God. So, there are those that are in the light of God and those that are in darkness. Those that are in darkness do not get the reckoning or communication from God, and they will stay in darkness. We know this because we can easily see this in the book of Jude. It's an everlasting, or if you're reading in the King James, it's going to be, King James is everlasting, but it's also to the ages. Natural beats. Okay, so here we go. Jude 6. Messengers also, those who did not keep their own principality, but did leave the proper dwelling of the light, to a judgment of a great day in bonds everlasting, under darkness he hath kept. They are kept in darkness. They do not come to the light. The darnel does not become wheat. The wheat is in the light, and the closest the darnel come is that they are burned. They are burned. The same darnel that's burned, we also have in Malachi. Malachi 4:2, but let's go to 1. For lo, the day hath come, burning as a furnace, and all the proud and every wicked doer hath been stubble, and burnt them hath the day that came, said Jehovah, or Yahweh of hosts, that there is not left to them root or branch. This group of people, the darkness, has the fire. And this group, and risen to you, this is 4:2 now, ye who fear my name, hath the Son of righteousness. And see, Son of the light of righteousness. Now the Mandela Bible Change believers think that it's S-O-N. They think the Bible is supernaturally changed. However, we can look at S-U-N and realize that's also S-O-N, of righteousness, and healing in its wings. And ye have gone forth and have increased as calves of a stall. This is giving us the same two different crosses, two different judgments, two different Israels. There are two different Israel. There are fig trees. One tree is going to bring forth light, righteousness, and the other one is to be burnt. Now, why am I saying that? We haven't even got to the Son of God yet, but we're getting a lot of parallels that are you can't deny. So let's go to Jeremiah 24. Jeremiah 24 is something you can read many times if I could find it. I'm almost there. Jeremiah. Okay, 24. We're going to go to the beginning of Jeremiah 24, and it is going to give us 24:1. Jehovah or Yahweh hath showed me, lo, 2 baskets of figs. 2 baskets of figs appointed before the temple of Yahweh, Jehovah, after the removing by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. So let's see what these, in the one basket, figs very good, like the first ripe figs, and in the other basket, figs very bad, that are not eaten for badness. If you have 2 sets of figs, one good, one bad, they didn't come from the same tree. We know this because a good tree does not bring forth bad fruit, and a bad tree does not bring forth good fruit. Similar to the darnel separate from the wheat. And we're going to go a little further down so that we don't get caught up on time. Figs, the good figs, very good, and the bad, very bad, that are not even for badness. And there is a word of Jehovah Yahweh unto me, saying, Thus said Jehovah Yahweh, God of Israel, like God of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, Jehovah, God of Israel. Like these good figs, so do I acknowledge. The good figs are acknowledged. The man on the right side of Jesus on the cross. The removed of Judah that I sent from this place to the land of the Chaldeans for good. And I have set mine eyes to them for good, and have brought them back to this land, and built them up, that I throw not down, and have planted them and plucked not up. And ye have given to them a heart to know me. Now this is not the Israel today, because they do not know Yahweh, Jehovah God. It's secular, and it was brought forth by Rothschild. Israel today, and have given to them a heart to know me, for I, Jehovah Yahweh, and they have been to me for a people, and I am to them for God. For they turned back unto me with all their heart. And like the bad figs, now this is the other figs from another fig tree, because we know that a good tree doesn't make bad figs, that are not eaten for badness. Surely thus saith Jehovah Yahweh, so do I make Zedekiah king of Judah and his heads and the remnant of Jerusalem, who are left in this land, and who are dwelling in the land of Egypt, and I have given them for a trembling, for evil, to all kingdoms of the earth. Now, there's a group of people that have been chased out of 125 countries for a reproach, and for a simile, for a byword, and for a reviling in all the places where I drive them. And I have sent against them the sword, the famine, and the pestilence, till their consumption from off the ground that I gave to them and to their fathers. These are those that remember their name. The Israel of God now is revealed through the Son. The King of Israel, Son of God, is Jesus. He is the light of God. He is from above. Everybody else is from below. When Jesus spoke about this in John 8, he was making a difference. When Jesus spoke before Pilate, he says, my kingdom is not of this world. The Son of God is the light of God, and those that see it, again, they see the light, as in Genesis in the beginning, God seeth the light, and it is good. Now we're going to go for Son of God, and we're going to look at some interesting places and see how that fits. In fact, in King of Israel, and let's do Son of God. So, Son of God. Now we're going to stay pretty much in the New Testament, and you can look on your own and you'll find very interesting places. And let's listen to what Simon Peter said. And we are now in Matthew 16, 13. And Jesus, having come to the parts of Caesarea Philippi, was asking his disciples, "Who do men say me to be, the Son of Man?" And they said, some think that Jesus is the Son of Man, John the Baptist, and others Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He saith to them, "And ye, who do ye say me to be?" And Simon Peter answering said, "Thou art the Christ, the Son." Because remember, just as the Father is, so is the Son. Jesus is the light. And the judgment is light shineth in darkness, and darkness could not perceive. Christ, the Son of the living God, the light of the living God. And Jesus answering said to him, "Happy art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, because flesh and blood did not reveal to thee, but my Father who is in the heavens." If flesh and blood cannot reveal it to you, that means it is outside of will worship. You cannot worship the Father with the will. It's a revelation. It's a revelation that you are part of the family of Elohim. And God seeth the light, and the light is good. So Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus is the light of God, and it is good. That's what the thief on the right had said. The thief on the left said, "Save thyself and us." He was trying to tempt Jesus to care more about himself and what Jesus had to go through, and then tag himself together. And the man on the right, the thief on the right, condemned him and said that Jesus is good. So we can look at that again. Oh, I only have 8% left. Okay, so let's go to that for a second. I think it's Luke 35. I could be wrong. Not Luke 35, but Luke 23. Let's go to 43. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so this is the, okay. 23:39. And one of the evildoers who were hanged was speaking evil of him, saying, "If thou be Christ, save thyself and us." He is trying to get Jesus to care about himself. It's kind of like tempting him. And the other answering was rebuking him, saying, "Dost thou not even fear God, that thou art in the same judgment? And we indeed righteously, for the things worthy of what we did, we receive back. But this one did nothing out of place." And he saith to Jesus, "Remember me, Lord, when thou mayest come in thy reign." And Jesus said to him, "Verily I say to thee, today with me thou shalt be in the paradise." Jesus did not speak to the thief on the left. Jesus acknowledged the thief on the right after he rebuked the other one for saying, save thyself and us, tempting him. So let's go back to now Son of God and see some other interesting places. And you can look at this yourself, and you'll see how it fits in, and it gets stronger and stronger. And when Jesus came as King of Israel, he came to the cross as King of Israel, Son of God. The Jews were making the accusation that he's King of the Jews, but Jesus did not speak to them. Because another place in the Bible, when on the Transfiguration, it says, my beloved Son, hear he him. The Jews heard, my beloved Son. They never heard, hear he him. Only the three apostles, Peter, John, and James, heard that. I know there's a lot of information here, and you're going to start putting things together yourself, because that's what the light does. It magnifies more light. Okay, let's go to John, and we are towards the end of John. Okay, let's go to John 20. Okay, let's go to John 20, 30. 20:30. Many indeed, therefore, other signs also did Jesus. Remember, Jesus means salvation is of Yahweh. Before his disciples, that are not written in this book. And these have been written that ye may believe that Jesus, salvation is of Yahweh, is the anointed, the Son of God, the light of God, and that believing ye may have life in his name. Now remember, we are the family name of God. So for us, Jesus is the light of God that we see. The darkness people cannot see it. And the closest they can come to it is will worship. Will worship, where they say that they chose God. They chose God. This is will worship. Will worship is choosing God. Can you get into a family that you choose? Or are you going to be part of a family because you are, I am that which I am? You are not choosing the family. You can't choose to leave darnel and get into wheat. You have to already be wheat and under the wrath, and then be translated when it's revealed to you that you are of the Son of God, the light of God. Okay, let's look at another place about Son of God. And we have 7% left. We'll go back to Matthew. And we'll go to Matthew. Yeah, let's look at Mark. Let's look at this, 5:7. Let's see what it says there. And having called, 5:7, called with a loud voice, he said, what to me and to thee, Jesus, light of God, the Most High, adjure thee by God, mayest thou not afflict me? For he said to him, come forth. So the evil spirits even see that he's the Son of God, but they're coming forth and questioning him, what is thy name? And he answered, Legion is thy name, because we are many. And he was calling on him much, that he may not send them out of the region. Isn't that interesting? Not out of the region. They are not from above. And there was there near the mountains a great herd of swine feeding, and all the demons did call upon him, saying, send us to the swine, that into them we may enter. You see, they're not going back to heaven because they never came from heaven. So they got to stay in the swine. And immediately Jesus gave them leave, and having come forth, the unclean spirits did enter into the swine, and the herd did rush down the steep place to the sea, and they were about 2,000, and they were choked in the sea. Now, we're running close to 25 minutes. I wanted to get into something else now. What's going on in the world right now? Now, I've been making I made a lot of videos on this, that everybody's lying through their teeth. And it's really interesting. They're lying about the whole war with Russia, or military operation Russia-Ukraine, and they're not telling the truth. And now something happened in fake Israel. And fake Israel now is actually showing their true colors by conducting a genocide on the Palestinian people. Now, if you understand how God does things, then you're probably going to say to yourself, well, if that's fake Israel, then who are the Palestinians? Well, if you ask the fake Israel people, they're going to say that they're the Philistines or whatever, or descendants. But I think there's a little more to this story that we don't know. It is my thinking, from understanding how God does things, that these are part of the Israelites. And being part of the Israelites, fake Israel is trying to conduct genocide upon these Palestinians so that they can get the land, because now Esau is pretending to be Israel. But in their doing all this, they are proving that they are the bad figs. These are the figs that when Jesus comes out of the temple will curse. And why? Because they have leaves, but no fruit. And the fruit is the reproduction. They have leaves, but no fruit. And that is fake Esau, Canaanite Israel today. They are lying in darkness, and we are just about to get into Genesis 1:1, where, let's go to that quickly. We're running out of time, and maybe you can read it yourself if we get caught, but let's read it. In the beginning of God's preparing the heavens and the earth hath existed waste and void, and darkness on the face of the deep. Today, everyone is in darkness. And the Spirit of God fluttering on the face of the waters, and God saith, Let light be, and light is. And God seeth the light that good. And God separateth between the light and the darkness. We are at that time where the media, the people are coming together, binding themselves together to the darkness. And then all of a sudden God's going to pull the rug out from everybody and say, let light be. And where you end up is where you're going to end up. If you're part of the light, then you are going to radiate more light. And if you're part of the darkness, how are you going to pull your... When you're part of the darkness, you double down. When these people are lying to you or lying on the airs, they don't say, oh, okay, this is an aha moment, because darkness people cannot be corrected. Light people say thank you and correct themselves. Darkness people double down, or they try and talk to you in tangents, confuse you, make the waters muddy so that you can't understand what's going on. That's the difference between people of the light and people of the darkness. Darkness does not want to correct itself. Or when it does correct itself, out of all the badness that it did, it'll just admit to that little dot. That's how evil corrects itself. And it's not even correcting itself because it knows that that's like the most plausible thing it can say. Today, we are witnessing the darkness covering the earth. and it is just mind-boggling.